Welcome back, everybody. Thank you so much for joining us today for the Make Me Whole podcast. Today, we have a wonderful guest here with us. This is Latoniya Sumpter, who is the owner, operator, finesse of the Empowered Wellbeing Health Program. I am so excited for her to be here because we have so much to talk about today, and I am just so glad that we have the opportunity to do so. Thank you so much for being here today.
You're welcome.
Latanya, tell us a little bit about you. Tell us where you come from, what your passion is when it comes to mental health and wellness. What do you want my listeners to hear today?
So I am Latanya. Legally, I say I'm Latanya, and I go by LT. So I am the founder and the visionary behind Empowered Wellbeing. We are a virtual holistic health and wellness brand. This is where I consider myself an integrative wellness coach, and I am a yoga instructor, a coach, and I'm also a Reiki master as well. So this is where I go in and I work my magic behind the scenes. I am passionate about really helping women become whole and heal within themselves. And I know that a lot of times it really stems from, for me, I like to do the inner work so the outward work shines. And I think sometimes we get, just a little snippet. I've been on this weight loss journey for maybe the last 2 years, and people see the outward appearance of
Mm.
Latanya losing this 100-something pounds.
Oh,
But
good for
Latanya
you.
has been on an inward journey, right? And now that's starting to sprout out. And a lot of my journey has come from me really healing molestation wounds, abandonment, and rejection. And what I realized is that over the years, that impacted me in so many different ways. It impacted my relationships, whether it was intimate or whether or not it was even with family or even girlfriend friendships.
Mm.
It impacted my life in so many different ways. And even now, there are times because I have the tools to equip me now, which is what I'm helping other women work through right in this season. There were times where it really impacted me. And even now, I'm able to kind of dissect and look at things. So what I do, I help women go into pinpoint when, where, so they can kind of see it from a higher perspective. Maybe it's not always the other person. Let's kind of maybe look to see maybe if it's a trigger from childhood.
Right.
So those are things just really helping women become whole, because we don't understand sometimes when our nutrition is off, it impacts our lives. When we're not really implementing wellness and well-being into our day-to-day lives, it really can impact you. So just really teaching women how to become whole so they can live more fulfilling lives. And that is my mission and my passion.
I love that. I love that. Now, of course, my podcast name is Make Me Whole, and it does come from that same mindset
Mm,
of going inside and outside. It's not just the wellness on the outside, but it is also the wellness on the inside. I think what you're talking about sets the tone for a lot of what we're seeing people experiencing. They're remembering, they're
yeah,
connecting to feelings that they've never been allowed to address before.
right.
And stepping into that sometimes can be really scary,
Yeah,
especially when you have people such as ourselves from Black and Brown communities who were kind of told, you don't feel that, you
yeah,
don't know that. What are you
yeah.
talking about? You're safe, you have a roof over your head, you have food in
Mhm,
your belly. I don't
mhm,
want to hear anything else. You have no reason to be upset.
yeah.
And now we're being allowed to talk about those things, and um, people aren't necessarily understanding what that comes from. What is it that you help people through, especially women, when they are awakening to that?
Mm. And I'll tell you, I just had a client this week that I was working with, and ultimately, when it really boiled down to it, it was more or less she was looking for things outside of her. And I was able to help her pinpoint that it's like you're getting upset with this person because you have this expectation of them. First of all, they're not equipped to give you what you need. So this
Mm.
is the part when I say, hey, where is your cup at? Is your cup right here, or is your cup right here? And you got to keep your cup right here because you got to fill your own cup, and your cup is your cup of happiness. What lights you up and make you happy? And when I was able to kind of sit with her to dissect that, she was like, you're right. I'm looking for things outside of me to make me happy. And it's like I have to fill my own cup. So again, it's being able to kind of pinpoint, to be able to show women like, yes, sometimes we are connected and involved with people that they may not be the best option for us, right? But then sometimes there is a percentage as well where we're going through our healing journeys, and these people are reflecting things back to us to kind of make us look at things from a different perspective so we can heal those spaces. So again, just being able to help them to pinpoint, to see it from a higher perspective and not an always an emotional perspective too. Been working on that emotional well-being, because sometimes we'll react and it's like, let's kind of sit with that a little bit. Is that a trigger or something that's kind of coming up for you? So just being able to really pinpoint where some of the things are coming from that are making us upset or not helping us to step fully into who we really are.
Yeah, that makes good sense. I mean, what do you find sparked your interest in working in mental health and wellness?
Honestly, it was my journey. It was my journey and how those inner child wounds prevented me. Also, the self discovery of life showed me where I was supposed to be. And then
Mm.
I knew that this was my calling and what I am supposed to be doing for the world. And I am just finally now boldly stepping into that space. And it's taking some work to kind of release it. I will tell you that the energy healing space really helped me a lot get into more of alignment, to connect, to be able to accept and hear and be able to move to and placing me in the right places. And it's interesting to me now, even as things are unfolding, I am connecting with a lot of people in the mental health space, a lot.
Mm.
And a few months ago, God was like, this is going to kind of be some mental health people that are coming through. So it's interesting to me that I'm being connected with more therapists and people on, in that realm of the space. So, and I look at it's just my calling. So, and it was my
Yeah,
journey. And what I realized is that that test and that testimony, it was meant for me, but it was also meant for me now to take it back to a collective of people that truly need healing, that truly need to be able to overcome the things that have happened to them. And they're not their wounds, right? Being able to help them to identify that you don't have to stay here in that space. And I think what happens, we get stuck into that vicious cycle. It's a continuous cycle over and over, and we stay there. We don't realize we don't have to stay there. We have the opportunity to get out of it, but we've been conditioned and taught that this is it. This is where you stay, and that's just not
yeah,
my belief on life. I believe that life it's a broad spectrum of things, right? And we have the opportunity to get up. And some people may say fight back, but take my life back. And this is just where I am with it. I was last two and a half, I'll say two, maybe 2.5 years ago, I was just in a very depressive state. And although I've been doing the work, the healing work since about 2018, sometimes when you kind of fall off, and I was just in this depressive state, I'm like, I am not happy with life. I am not happy with where I am right now. I am overweight. I'm just not happy. And one day it just clicked. It magically just clicked and I just started. And now I'm looking at these habits that I've built over this last
mm,
2.5 years. And I always knew that I was called to speak, coach, do those things. I always knew
right.
that I was going through my divorce. As soon as I came out of that divorce in 2012, I would always say it. Even as I go back, journaling is something I love to do because I'm able to go back to reflect, to see. And as I look through those journal entries, I'm like, oh yeah, no, I've been talking about this for years. So
Mm,
now those seeds that I planted, they're starting to come through. But I also had to go through those things too so I could show up, to be the vessel, to be the vulnerable vessel too, to be able to say like, no, like you guys see me now, but I've really done a lot of inner work. So
yeah,
it was my journey, and knowing how it really held me captive for so many years mentally. Mentally, it did.
yeah.
Hmm.
What do you think the challenge is for people? Like, what keeps people stuck?
Ooh, I think it's the familiarity of all of it. It's what we're
Yeah,
used to. Um, Even this last week, I was dissecting some inner child wounds for myself, and I had to say, no, your nervous system, your body it has been used to chaos. It doesn't know how to thrive in something that's just easy coasting. Since you've been a child, you have been from here, finally here, right? That was not stable. I don't care how we try to slice it up. Yes, some of the environments with the people may have been stable, but my body and my nervous system has been used to chaos. And now
right.
that I'm equipped with the tools, I can identify to say, no, I no longer want to stay here. So I think and it's funny you asked me that question because I was scrolling last night and I'm like, we don't see it. We just stay there. It's because it's what we're used to. And anything outside of that you're different, you're odd, you're weird. And
Yeah.
like, no, I'm just choosing a different path, a path that I just kind of want to have, a path that is of light and love. And I know that it exists. I'm already living it, right? So being able to help other people see that, and again, I think it's a programming. It is a
Yeah,
programming that we're used to.
definitely.
So yeah, coming out of that programming space, and it's still again, I think it's an ever unfolding healing journey for us. But you could see the progress in the growth over the years, and you could see the changes where now I don't always respond so emotionally when things kind of come up or whatever. But I do. I think it's the programming what we're used to, and it's comfortable. It is.
Even though it's uncomfortable, it is very comfortable
It's
because
yes.
otherwise, what else are we doing? Who are
Yeah.
we if we're
Yeah.
not the
Yeah.
same person that everyone expects us to be and how we've been
Yeah.
throughout our entire lives?
I'm diving into because I like to get into like a lot of psychology books, a lot of like healing arts. That's just me. But the body keeps score. That
Yes.
is an accurate book. That is a accurate book, and the body is keeping score whether it's good or it's bad. I can even see over the years behaviors within intimate relationships, right? When I would connect with somebody, the body was keeping score of those very toxic type situations that I've been in. And then I bring that same space to my new connection. The body is keeping score and it's accurate. It's very, very accurate. But getting people to understand that, and we just get so conditioned in our environments. And I just don't think that
Yeah.
that's what God intended for us. I just don't think
Yeah.
that.
Yeah. I absolutely agree with that. I mean, what do you think about people who criticize that? People who have a lot to say about the idea of doing inner child work or focusing in on healing past trauma where they may think trauma didn't exist.
I think that people like you and I in this space, when we're talking to other people outside, there's a two groups. There's a group that says, "Oh, they crazy. That ain't it." And then there's a group that's quiet and they're observing and they're listening. Because I have people even now, they'll say, they won't comment on what I post, but they'll come to me and they'll say, "Oh, that was, you kind of made me think about that." So there's a group of people that they believe it in a sense, but they're too afraid of what society may think. And again, for me, it always goes back to society as well. Society has conditioned us to think so many ways that just might not be completely accurate. And
Mm,
don't even get me talking about, we believe everything that we're told. We don't
mm,
question nothing. We believe everything that we're told, and we never go outside of those beliefs to question any of it. Even when I got into the energy healing space, girl, I was quiet about that thing. I did not want people to know. Like, and I'm just like, what is wrong with it? And it's been this last year and a half where I'm like, no, I am boldly, unapologetically Latoniya Sumpter, and that is who I am. And I
yeah.
know, and another thing too is I realize is that the people that are on the sideline talking, those are the people that need the help. They are the
Mm,
ones that sitting there judging, and they're the ones that
mhm.
truly need the help and need to be really booking the therapy session or the energy healing
Yeah.
session or the coaching session. They are the ones, and they, but again too, they are also still afraid of what they don't know, but they will believe a lie.
Yeah.
So
It's incredible to me because there is such, and it's not just generational, because a lot of times people say, well, that's a generational thing.
right,
There are some generations that believe more in therapy than others. I don't think that's necessarily the case. I think it
right,
is very individualized.
yeah,
I think in our cultures, some of the things that happens that there's a lot of shame attached to it. Like I'm
yeah,
not going to pinpoint the things that are negative. I'm going to
yeah,
stick with I did the best I could.
yeah, yeah,
And where that there's a lot of truth behind that,
mm-hmm,
there's also there you have to follow it up, I think,
right,
and account for those things that the person who might be speaking to you and saying, hey, like this was a really screwed up time in our interaction with one another, not necessarily void what they're feeling, but
right,
validate instead
right,
and say, God, that's horrible that you went through that. I'm so
right,
sorry you went through that. Let me hear you. And
right,
I think that that causes so many of us to just stay quiet and like,
yeah,
I'm going to heal, but I'm going to heal on my own. I'm
yeah,
not going to go ahead and share with you how this point of healing has helped me.
right,
Or, hey, journaling or meditating really does it for me.
yeah,
Um, And so I just wonder, like, how do you break through to the client who is doing their own healing and yet facing all these other, maybe even close people, even
Right.
family members who might think that they're engaging in something that's far, far
Yeah. I,
too hokey pokey, or, like, just this is not what we do. This is like, what kind of magic are you trying to get involved with psychological nonsense? Like, I mean, I
yeah,
used to be told directly, like, don't come to me with your psychological bullshit.
yeah,
And I remember that very clearly when I was being what, and I was like, okay, I'm just speaking clearly and
yeah,
talking about feelings and how
yeah,
things should be. And but that was the true feeling. Like, don't come to me with it,
yeah,
either because I can't understand it or it's too heavy for me to carry
yeah.
in the moment. So I just wonder, what do you think about that?
I think that, and it's a very. I'm thankful that although it's taken me a long time to be more public in regards to like what I kind of work with or the things that I do or my beliefs. And there's still some of my beliefs I don't always tell openly everybody, right? And you shouldn't even have to be in that space. You should be able to be free to say the things that you really want to say, but neither here nor there. I think the biggest thing is one, you got to find community.
Mm,
That has been one of my biggest helps. And even in this season right now, because you again you do it, and it could get a little lonely sometimes too when you're starting this journey, but I am so thankful that people are always coming along my path. They're always
mm,
coming along my path to bring me that closeness, to help me know that, like, no, what you're thinking isn't crazy. There are some people that they're serious about their healing space. So I think if I was talking to anybody that may be experiencing that difficulty, look for community. There are so many like Facebook groups that where
yeah.
people that think the way that we think, and ask. I am telling you, even here recently, I am learning, for one, our words hold so much power, right? All you got to do is just ask your
Yeah.
guides, whoever you connect to a higher space. I'm not even judgmental with that. Some people are, oh, well, Buddhism or Hinduism. Listen, that's their preference. It's their preference, and they are
Hmm.
entitled. As to me, as long as you're not into anything that's dark, and as
Right.
long as it is a peace, love, and light, whoever your higher being is that you connect to, just ask. I can guarantee you, when you ask for that community and that support to come in, it will come. One of my affirmations that I've just recently started speaking is align me with women that come in to help me, but I am also a help to them along their journey and how I can be a help. And when I'm telling you, I'm seeing things like these people are
I
just
love
coming
it.
in. It's so magical. And I'm just sitting here like, where are these people coming from? You're asking me to send you people that can help you and that you can also help too, and that they're coming in for the betterment good of all of us, not just one
Yeah.
person, but for everybody, to be able to assist, to help along the journey. So yeah, I think community is a big one, especially because I remember when I first started, I don't think I really had anybody. I was just randomly, a family member of mine, she had me read The Power of the Subconscious Mind.
Mm.
And when I read that book sent me, it was, it was, it was over. It was no going back once I really started reading that book. And so yeah, I think community is so important, especially right now. I think that we are moving into a space where communities are, there are going to be more communities like what we're
Yeah.
building and growing and what we have, because I do think that this is the forward movement of the future of people really starting to do a lot of the healing work, and it's to make the world better. That's what's needed.
Yeah. People are starting to come out from
Yeah,
they're hiding,
yeah,
and they're, alone. They're no longer wanting to be alone after having to go through what we just did with the pandemic and with
yeah,
COVID and everything. People are starting to come together again. They're just not always sure how to do it.
yeah, yeah,
So these are good places to start.
yeah.
All right, tell me, where can people find you? Where can
So
people
I
look for you?
so I am on Instagram. I'm up under empowered underscore wellbeing one. Up under TikTok, it is empowered wellbeing. My Facebook page is just my name, and I was like, what do I? I'm like, but wait a minute, you have so many. It's still growing up under your legal name, so even my private Facebook page is totally fine too, and that's just Latoniya Sumpter. But I would say Instagram for sure, empower_wellbeing one. That's where they can find me. They can find all of our virtual yoga classes. We have a virtual 4-week Empower Her Inner Radiance group coaching that's coming up, and it is about really starting. It's the starting of the journey of self-discovery, but we're talking about nutrition and mindfulness and body movement, all those things to help you really become one into union with yourself. So yeah.
Fantastic. We will make sure to put links to everything on the description for the episode.
Great.
Latanya, you have been such a delight. I just love your energy, and I hope that we can do more of these sessions together where we can talk and just bring
Absolutely.
your spirit out. People need to hear from you.
Absolutely. Thank you so much. Thank
No,
you.
thank you. I hope everybody enjoyed the episode, and I'll see you guys next time on Make Me Whole.